Are you aware of the dangers of childhood obesity? Also, do you know the physical and non-physical benefits of putting your children in sports? Putting your children in sports can accomplish many things by lowering the risk of childhood obesity and granting a lot of physical and non-physical benefits. You should put your children in sports because it will benefit them physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. Children benefit greatly in the physical aspects from sports. This is something that I think everybody understands and is not argued against very often. When you put your children in sports, it forces them to be more active. When they are more active, they also become more healthy, which is really widely known. And when they become more healthy, they lower the risk of things like diabetes and other negative effects. Children's sports also prevents childhood obesity. In an article by Alex O'Connor of the New York Times, he states, "Children can significantly lower their likelihood of being overweight or obese by walking or biking to school and playing one or two sports. This is a clear way to prevent childhood obesity because if they are more active, if they join more sports, if they walk or bike, they will lower their body count and childhood obesity will be prevented a lot easier." Also, with my personal study, 15 out of 15 people, or 100% of people, stated that they are aware of the dangers of childhood obesity. And the U.S. Health Department stated that 32% of children in the U.S. are overweight or obese. So this is something that is extremely serious and needs to be taken very seriously. People need to start focusing on it, and I think putting your children in sports will be a huge step in the right direction. Children don't just benefit physically, they also benefit mentally and emotionally. In an article by Mary Forgione of the LA Times, she states, "Kids who play sports don't just benefit physically. Research shows they also do better in school, develop discipline, and learn how to get along with others." This is something that's very important because if sports can help people or children get along with others and do better in school, it's something that needs to be taken seriously. School is clearly very important. It's much more important than sports, but if you can use sports to do better in school, then that is a huge benefit in putting your children in sports. Sports also teaches children how to cope with failure. In sports, you fail a lot. You fail very often. You fail more often than what people would think. But it will teach kids how to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and keep going. And this will cause kids in the future to be much more resilient towards failure. So when they fail in the future, they will be used to it and be able to pick themselves up and dust themselves off. Also, sports are just fun to play. When children play sports, they have a lot of fun and they tend to be much happier. And being happy as a child is a very key thing in childhood development and in their mind state. Along with the previous benefits stated, if you put your children in sports, it will cause them to be more social. This is due to the fact that when you're in sports, you have about 1 to 2 games a week and about 2 to 3 practices a week. So outside of school, kids will be seeing their same peers and same friends up to 4 to 5 days a week, which is huge. This teaches kids how to speak to others, how to communicate with others, and just how to get along with kids that are their age. Children's sports also creates a lot of bonds. In an article by Julie Petridge of the NAES organization, she states, "One of the greatest experiences in sports is getting to hang out with friends and sharing the experience of competing together." This is something that's a one-of-a-kind experience, and if you ask anybody that has played sports before, they will agree and vouch for this. Because when you go and after working hard with your friends and you go compete with other players of a different team and become successful, it's a bond and an experience that is undeniably great. It's something that you will remember forever, and it just creates a very strong bond between you and your teammate. Sports also teaches kids how to work as a team, and teamwork is something that should be learned very early on. Teamwork is something that you can take into the real world, you can take into school, high school, college, the workspace, anything that you have to work in a group in. Teamwork is something that should be learned from a very young age, and there's a great way to do it in sports because they have to work together to accomplish the same goal. When you make friends in sports, they tend to last a lot longer as well. Personally, from my experience, I have friends that I met when I was 7, 8, 9 years old that I still talk to on a day-to-day basis every day, and even though I don't play sports anymore, it's still a bond that is very hard to be broken because of the fact that we had so many experiences together and we did so much together and spent so much time together that we became very strong. So friendships within sports tend to last much longer than they do outside of sports. With this being said, there's many positive effects that go along with playing children's sports. These effects include things that are physical, mental, emotional, and social. There's just too many positives to keep your kids out of sports. You should not do that. You should keep your kids in sports and put them in sports because it'll benefit them all around, not just physically. I'm hoping after this speech that you strongly consider putting your children in sports. Thank you.